Alright, this is practice problem 3.15. Ascorbic acid, which is also known as vitamin C, contains 40.92% carbon, 4.58% hydrogen, and 54.50% by mass. What is the empirical formula of ascorbic acid? Alright, so when you attempt these problems, the easiest thing and the most important thing you have to do at the beginning is assume that you have 100 grams. Okay, that allows us to convert all these percentages into grams. And so that means that we would have 40.92 grams of carbon. We would have 4.58 grams of hydrogen, and we'd have 54.50 grams of oxygen. So basically, if we took those, that's a total of 100 grams, and so we can easily convert those to percentages or backwards, and that's why we assume 100 grams. So the first thing we want to do is just figure out how many moles this is. So in 1 mole of carbon is 12.0 grams. Okay, so our grams of carbon are going to cancel, and we're left with moles, and so we actually have 3.407 moles of carbon. Okay, next we're going to convert the grams of hydrogen to the moles of hydrogen. So 1 mole of hydrogen over 1.0 grams of hydrogen. Okay, our grams of hydrogen are going to cancel, and so we are left with 4.58 moles of hydrogen. Same thing for oxygen. We're converting 1 mole, or we're converting 54.50 grams of oxygen to moles. Okay, and there's 16.0 grams of oxygen in 1 mole. Our grams of oxygen cancel, and so we end up getting 3.406 moles of oxygen. So at this point, the key is to just identify the smallest whole number that you can divide each of these by. Okay, whichever one has the smallest number of moles will divide by. So really, it's going to be this 3.406 moles of oxygen. And so if we do that, and we write out that we have carbon, we have hydrogen, we have oxygen. If we take carbon, which is 3.407 moles carbon, divided by 3.406 moles of oxygen, okay, that's basically equal to 1. The hydrogen, we take 4.58 moles of hydrogen, divide that by the moles of oxygen, okay, which was 3.406 moles of oxygen. That gives us 1.33. And for the oxygen, we have 3.706 moles of oxygen, and we're dividing that by 3.706 moles of oxygen. Okay, and so that's equal to 1. Well, we can't have something that basically only has 1.33, right, for the empirical formula. And so if we multiply everything by the smallest whole number, we can then figure out what the empirical formula is. Okay, and so for this step, we're actually just going to multiply everything times 3, because 3 times 1.33 would be 4. And so now we have 3 for carbon, we have 4 for hydrogen, and we have 3 for oxygen. And so our empirical formula then is C3H4O3.